Even in the richest cities in the world, like New York, what happens with the poor is that we're often just completely marginalized.
The whole game was dependent upon prices to continue to increase, and they stopped increasing, and there was a lot of things. Subprime became an issue. They started increasing their lending standards, making people actually qualify on the permanent rate, not on the teaser rate, cutting down on the subprime and the liar loans. And this is what happened. They just increased the lending standards so tight that no one could get a loan, and prices tanked. Something that I have no proof of, but I also think that the banks may have. When they saw a loan that was in trouble in Maryville, they foreclosed immediately, or in other areas they may not have been so quick. So that caused really a lot of foreclosures in a short period of time, which really hammered prices.
What do you picture when you think about a low-income community like the neighborhood of Maryvale in West Phoenix, Arizona?
It's called a broken window syndrome. If someone doesn't fix their broken window, then other people are not going to begin to care, and this is what the neighborhood is going to begin to look like.
It was a community that was aging, it was starting to have some problems, it was starting to show its age, and so therefore good news was hard to find.
Drop the top on my car, call it porno. Yeah, I'm the realest. You can ask your BM. Shorty, I'm the aka the BM.
Shockingly, poor people are buying food based entirely on two concepts. One, how long it keeps, and two, how cheap it is. And it is often low-quality food. The first of each month is grocery day. That's the day that the food stamps come in. New month, new food. So when the food money arrives, to avoid multiple trips to the grocery store and burning costly gas that can't be afforded, the entire month's worth of groceries are purchased all at once and stored. When it's done this way, many buy food that won't spoil. Forget about fresh produce or fresh baked goods or fresh anything. Canned vegetables are as cheap and is a staple part of their diet. Fruit is the same way. Canned peaches could be split between 3 kids for half of the cost of the fresh ones, and at the end, they had the extra surprise of pure liquefied sugar to push them into type 2 diabetes. If it wasn't canned, it was frozen. TV dinners, pot pies, chicken nuggets, meals that can be frozen forever. It's not they've grown to like it, necessarily, but they grow to expect it. People who have never been poor love to point out overweight people in the ghetto and sarcastically exclaim, "Yeah, it really looks like they're starving." And those people have no idea that the reason many of them have weight problems is because everything they're putting into their bodies is dirt cheap and processed. Fresh food is expensive and takes forever to prepare. It goes bad quickly, so it requires multiple trips to the grocery store per week, which is something most impoverished people can't do. And since all of those time-saving frozen meals are high in salt, what was interesting in collecting data to disprove the hypothesis was that there isn't enough evidence to determine if poor people are in fact more sustainable. The facts are out there from the expressions that ring through the low-income communities terrorized by gang violence. The idea that there isn't enough money to waste electricity, water, or food foolishly is engraved in the minds of impoverished people everywhere. These expressions are heard all the time. Don't leave the water running when you're brushing your teeth. Don't use the hot water unless you have to. Make sure you finish your food. Don't let it go bad. If you're not going to eat it, give it to the dog. Don't leave the door open. I'm not paying to cool down the entire neighborhood. These mindsets program these individuals to some practices other classes of income can learn from, but all that is seen are the negative aspects of living in poverty. These practices are slowly dissolving from the low-class communities recently. There is a new generation in the ghetto. the MTV generation. The generation raised by media that taught them how not to be thrifty and live as they too are rich and famous. As these youths move out into the higher classes, they leave behind what their grandparents tried to instill in them because they don't want to seem poor in the rich surroundings. They watch closely on the television the behaviors of the more privileged, and they notice that rich people don't save money, don't save water, and don't eat leftovers. There will be a time when the middle class is completely eradicated and more people will have to learn how to live poor. But the practices of the poor may not survive through the current generation.